I am from SumofUs.org. We are a movement of consumers, investors, and employees working together to curb the growing power of large corporations. And who am I? I have been campaigning for around 10 years. I'm the Campaign and Culture Director at SumofUs. I'm also on the board of Free Tibet, and I'm on the board also of Level Up, which is a new startup digital feminist campaigning organisation. So if you want to talk about that, please do come to me. Let's just see, hang on. I'm trying to find... Sorry, just trying to click through two things at the same time. Okay, so, are you ready? Good. I'm obviously not, but I am. I will be. Number one of the 10 things you need to know as a corporate campaigner is you need to create an organising vehicle. So, what's an organising vehicle? It can be a petition, it can be a hashtag, whatever it is, it's a first start to any campaign. It might be a Facebook group or even a group chat with friends. But it's a lot easier to get everyone moving in the same direction if everyone has a central place to organise from. The Dump Trump and Grab Your Wallet campaigns in the US are great examples of hashtags being used to run multiple successful corporate campaigns. By using a hashtag, campaign participants have a clear way to make their impacts and associations known, respond quickly to new developments with a unified social media message, and ultimately they were able to convince a wide range of companies like NBC News and Macy's to end their financial relationship with Donald Trump even before he launched his presidential campaign. Number 2, use the media as your ally. So, last year, SumofUs ran a successful campaign against WestJet, a well-known Canadian airline. For years, sexual assault allegations against WestJet employees had mounted. The Canadian airline had routinely suppressed internal investigations and denied survivors the justice that they deserved. So when SumofUs connected with one of the survivors, Mandy, who was just about to make her case public, we worked to make sure that her story would have a lasting impact for others at the company. We took advantage of the news moment and followed up on her case with a simple and strong ask, which was for the CEO to resign. This immediately helped to frame the story in a way that mattered and got us wall-to-wall coverage for an entire week in the Canadian press. We got an exclusive with the Globe and Mail, which is a huge national paper there, and we were on every single TV station all that week. Reporters weren't asking us about the nitty-gritty details about the case, but they were asking us why the CEO could have let it happen. So every week, we were following up with campaign stunts at airports, at shareholder meetings, and we were forcing the company to take these sexual assault allegations seriously. While WestJet still isn't perfect, after an independent audit in which they worked with our team, they do seem to be on a better path. The point is the media can be your ally if you use the media as a weapon against your targets. So give the reporters a compelling story, and nothing is quite the same as a corporation in damage control mode. Number 3, use corporate branding as a weapon. Let's see if this auto plays, and if not, thank you. wrote a lot about corporate branding in her early book, No Logo. In it, she argues how major corporations started developing brands to give a human face to their factory-made products, but that after a few years, they realised they were selling a lifestyle more than a product. Cut to 50 years later, and you can't miss corporate branding if you tried. But that same branding dominance that makes corporations so powerful also has a hidden weakness. You can hijack that branding and use it against them, and that's just what we did here with this viral ad about Doritos and palm oil. PepsiCo buys a lot of palm oil. I don't know if you could read there, but it's about 450,000 tonnes a year. It's a resource that comes primarily from rainforest destruction and slave labour in Southeast Asia. We wanted PepsiCo to step up and commit to sourcing more responsible palm oil. So what we did was we basically hijacked a contest that PepsiCo runs every year. The brand Doritos solicits new ideas for a new commercial that is shown at the halftime at Super Bowl. And we made a commercial, and we didn't submit it to the official contest, but we did let the press know about it, and it went viral, garnering 20 million views across social media. Adweek called it the best Doritos Super Bowl ad this year, and Ad Age said it would go down as one of the best of all time. Doritos don't actually have any palm oil in them, but every single reporter was calling up PepsiCo executives asking them for clarifications on their palm oil policy. And a few months later, PepsiCo issued a revised palm oil commitment. It's still not very good, but we're trying to get there slowly. So the point is hijack corporate branding and use it as a weapon, because one bad day can cost $1 billion. Oh, yeah. That was a slide that said one bad day can cost $1 billion. So, thank you. Lol, stop, oh my god. Okay, great, thanks. Okay, so in 2013, not a SumofUs campaign, but a great example of a successful corporate campaign. In 2013, an Italian pasta chairman told a radio station that his company, Barilla, would never feature LGBTQ people in an advert, saying that gay families and gay adoption were not part of his company's sacred values. The pasta giant was met with a firestorm like few had ever seen before. Hashtag boycott Barilla immediately trended. The threat of a boycott immediately warped into a corporate campaign, with Barilla's ad partners dropping them and major retailers, I think like Walmart, maybe Costco, announcing that they would remove Barilla pasta from their stores. Even other pasta producers weighed in, trying to capitalise on the open market share and making their own pretty cute ads. The result sent the company into freefall. The CEO and chairman issued multiple apologies, and the company went into crisis mode. But in the years since, Barilla appointed a diversity and inclusion board and a perfect score several years in a row on the Human Rights Campaign's Corporate Equality Index, which tracks corporate policies for LGBTQ people, and has been ranked by several media outlets, including the Washington Post, as one of the most improved companies for LGBTQ workers. We mentioned this on slide 2, but when the right moment strikes, a corporation can have a really bad day. Sometimes they grow and learn from it, and sometimes they just go away. Okay, 5, and this is important. Legitimacy is key. Oh no. I don't like these clicker things. Can you go back to that other one? Cool. Thanks. Okay, so if you get your facts wrong, you're in trouble. Corporations are only going to make decisions in their own financial best interest, and it's our job to convince them that good policies are good for everyone, including the bottom line. If you're wrong about the facts, though, you can get in a lot of trouble. So some of us, we made this mistake when we were just getting started. We used information from a story in The Guardian and made an unproven claim in one of our test emails. This was a story about a sperm whale that had been washed up in Spain with lots of plastic bags in its stomach, and it had died from basically distension from eating so much plastic. We knew that the plastic bags could be traced to Aldi, which is the parent company of Trader Joe's, but what we didn't know was that there are 2 different subsidiaries of Aldi with different supply chains, and we had targeted the wrong one. Even though the email only went to a small segment of our list, one of those people happened to be a reporter who dug into the story and called us out. She was right, we hadn't thought to fact check a test email, but soon realised that getting it wrong was too costly to ever do again. Corporations listen to us because they trust that we're being honest and that we have legitimate points, even ones they don't agree with. When companies can dismiss our claims as untrue because they think we're sloppy, we undermine the credibility of all corporate campaigners. So to do this work, I think you know this, you need to always be right. Fact check your work and be responsive to corporations when they reach out to you, and the people on the other end are humans too. Establishing a relationship based on trust and respect, even if you don't agree with each other, is the first step to making change. 6, find the right pressure point. So, finding the right pressure point to meet the corporate target is one of the most important parts of the campaign. And different corporations have different leverage points. Find the one that works best. If it's shareholders, go after the shareholders. If it's advertisers, hit their advertisers. If it's corporate validators, force them into tough positions. This has already been mentioned, but Breitbart, a right-wing extremist news website with an outsized influence on the 2016 presidential campaign, were virtually untouchable. They had a board and a staff that did not care about honesty, and a large social media following built on selling lies that they could turn into cash quickly. Together with Sleeping Giants, an amazing group, like Stop Funding Hate, we launched a campaign against the online advertisers, the ones who helped them cash in on their hate mongering. The second some started dropping, they all did. Now Breitbart has lost over 3,000 advertisers and plays a significantly reduced role in the US political conversation. So simply by disincentivizing bad behaviour, we can make corporations better. Number 7, use the right tactic for the right moment. In an absolutely unprecedented move in June, Exxon shareholders voted overwhelmingly for a climate-friendly motion, even though their big oil execs recommended against it. The entire executive board at Exxon opposed the resolution forcing the oil giant to assess the long-term impacts of climate change. But when it came time for the vote, a huge 62% of shareholders voted against Exxon execs and for the climate. Ahead of the AGM vote, nearly 4,000 SumofUs members contacted more than 200 separate pension funds, calling on those big investors to vote in favour of the shareholder resolution. 17 different fund managers responded to us directly 64 times, saying that they received more messages from clients than they could reply to. We could only do this because we had already built a tech tool designed to help our members contact their pension funds directly. We used the right tactic for the right moment, and it paid off. Build diverse and relevant coalitions, number 8. So some of you here might get the Captain Planet reference, and some of you might not, but the point is simple: together we are stronger. Having a diverse set of people and communities signed onto your campaign helps you win. I think there are probably more than a handful of people here who have worked on the bees or currently working on them, but there is an incredible coalition around the world that works to ban and prevent companies from selling bee-killing neonics, pesticides. Our coalition brought together business experts, scientists, farmers, environmentalists, animal lovers, beekeepers, safety experts and everyday consumers to build a movement to save the bees. This wide-ranging coalition strengthened our arguments and reduced our ability to be divided and played against each other. In the last year alone, we have seen France move to pass a nationwide ban on neonics. We've pressured US retailers, Lowe's and Home Depot, to take those same pesticides off the shelves. We sent a delegation of beekeepers directly to the Bayer AGM in Germany, and we've crowdfunded independent bee research from leading scientists. So let your powers combine. Number 9, celebrate corporations for getting it right, maybe even when you don't want to. So, we know that most corporations are problematic, and even when they try to fix the problem, they fall short. But positive reinforcement never hurts. If a corporate target does something good, as strange as it may feel, applaud them for it. Odds are they're making the change to make you go away, so give them credit. This doesn't mean you can't suggest additional tweaks to the policy or call it out if it isn't good enough, but acknowledging the positive steps they make will make them more likely to take those positive steps in the future and reward the person inside the company who argued on your behalf. It was very strange for us to dress up in Starbucks coffee cup costumes and thank Starbucks for coming out publicly in support of LGBT marriage equality in 2013, but it did help build a lasting relationship with the company, one in which they have continued to be responsive to our campaign asks. They haven't always given us what we wanted, but it is nice to know that they're always listening. And lastly, number 10, live your values. It's very easy to get caught up in the urgency of the campaign and in the process replicate many of the oppressive behaviours and structures we are, in theory, working so hard to dismantle. And that's why it's so important to ensure that you are living your values as you work alongside other campaigners. Is your team or your volunteers feeling motivated, respected and appreciated? And if not, what could you change? Because some of us campaigns on workers' rights, we try very hard to be an excellent employer. We put a lot of thought into how to hire for excellence and diversity. We often advertise for a senior and junior role at the same time to get a diverse pool of candidates. This is a deliberate way to attract applicants who may be a good fit for the senior role, but who underrate their own experience. Instead of relying solely on interviews and CVs, all candidates take online tests. These are marked blind and are likely to be a better predictor of how good someone will be at their job. We also have targets to ensure we get a diverse pool of people applying for a job, and when we don't meet them, we will reopen the applications. We don't do salary negotiations. When we make a job offer, we know that every employee should be paid the same, whether or not they are a good negotiator. And the salaries offered are based on our pay grades, which all staff members have access to, and can only change when people are promoted or for a cost of living increase. Living our values underpins all the rest of our work, and we would not be successful corporate campaigners if we didn't do so. So those are the 10 things. Oh, there was another slide. The end.